Today I'm going to be reviewing and demonstrating how to set up, use, and clean your Grown Z baby food maker. I've put a link to this in the description, so feel free to check it out on Amazon. You can get it through that link for $69.99. But the machine comes with 9 food storage bags that you can use to freeze or refrigerate your food. The manual is really helpful because in the back of it, it tells you all the specific cook times for all different kinds of foods you might choose to steam, because this baby food maker is not just a blender. It's a blender, but it's also a steamer and a bottle warmer. When you receive the appliance, dismantle it and make sure you have all the appropriate necessary parts, which would be the blender body, the blade for the blender, the lid for the blender, the lid for the water vessel, and then the little spatula that you can use to scrape out the food from the blender into the pouches. Once you have all the necessary parts, you can go ahead, clean your machine to get it up and running by running a sterilizing cycle. You'll fill up the water vessel with distilled water to the max fill line, and then you'll take the lid to the water vessel and screw it on clockwise. Well, yeah, obviously plug in the machine, and then you can screw on that lid. And there are arrows on the lid that show you the locked and the unlocked position. And once you screw it clockwise and it's all set into place and locked, then you can go ahead and run your sterilizing cycle. Once both lids are on, the machine is ready to be used. The power button will be flashing and you can just press power, and then function. Function is the button that you can use to select the different mode. Press it twice. That'll toggle over to the menu option sterilize, and it automatically kicks on and runs for 10 minutes. Once the sterilizing cycle is complete, go ahead, dry off your machine, and it's ready to use. Now, I'm going to show you how I steam and then go on to blend my food. I fill up the blender with my food, and I'm pointing now to the max fill line for liquid and then the max fill line for food. I'm not putting any liquid in the blender because I'm just steaming these vegetables, and steaming it makes it soft enough that I don't need any liquid in it to make my puree. So you'll want to make sure that the water vessel is filled up with distilled water to the max fill line, and then you'll be ready to steam your food. Of course, you have the option, if you want to stop at the steaming process, just to have some nice soft vegetables to give to your baby. You don't have to go on to blend it. You can get your soft food out of the steamer after the steaming cycle is done. But just to show you how the whole machine works, I'm going to show you how to steam and then blend. So power function one time, and then I press the plus button to increase the cook time to 20 minutes because I have sweet potatoes in there and they recommend you cook it for 20 minutes. Let the steaming cycle run, and then I just left it in the machine. The power was still on, and I pressed the blend button. Now the blending mode is automatic. It goes on for a couple seconds, then off, and repeats this for a couple minutes. Then when the blending cycle is over, if you're still not satisfied with the consistency, you can go ahead and manually blend by pressing and holding the inching button. If you press and hold it and release, you'll see you're manually able to control the duration of the blending. So I'm happy with this consistency. I'm going to unscrew the lid to the blender, but definitely make sure you use some kind of an oven mitt or a towel because the machine can get hot. So you can see how my beautiful slime looks, and I'm going to let it cool off, then store it in my storage bag. If you are storing this to freeze, make sure you only fill up the package about 3/4 of the way, because when you lay it down flat to freeze, it expands and it might burst if you fill it up too high. So about 3/4 of the way full, and freeze it, refrigerate it, and then you can reuse these pouches. And obviously the babies can eat directly from the pouch, but if they're like mine, I just use it as storage for the boys. Now I'm going to show you how to use the meat cycle. It's the same as all the other ones. I'm going to pretend that my sweet potatoes and apples right here are just little pieces of meat, but it's the same concept as the other settings, that you just screw on the blender lid, make sure that the water vessel is filled with distilled water, press power on, the function button 4 times, and then that toggles it over to the meat setting. Then the last setting of this machine that's really awesome is the bottle warming setting. So same thing, you just put your bottle in the water vessel, click the lid on, that allows the machine to actually work, and then just select bottle warming setting, and I increase the temperature to 43 degrees. That's what my boys like. Then it'll keep warm for up to 12 hours. Now the descaling process, 60 milliliters of white vinegar, 150 milliliters of boiling water. Put it in the blender, let it sit there for 30 minutes, rinse it twice, then it's all clean. You'll want to do this descaling process when you notice that the machine is developing some scales on it, and that can happen after repeated use. But that's all I have for today. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you end up getting this machine and loving it as much as I do. Okay, I will see you in my next video. Bye!